Hello everyone. Welcome to Tales of Light. Imagine waking up one morning and realizing that everything you were chasing was slowly destroying you. Your job, your relationships, even the way you saw yourself. This is the story of a man named Don. On the outside, his life looked fine, but in one single week, everything collapsed. And in that collapse, Don was forced to face 6 hard truths. Truths that hurt at first, but those same truths made him stronger, wiser, and yes, finally happier. As you listen to Don's story, ask yourself a simple question. Which of these truths do you need to face in your own life right now? Because this is not just Don's story. It might be yours too. So take a breath. Stay with this till the end. One of these truths might be the thing that finally wakes you up. Before everything fell apart, Don lived a life that, from the outside, looked pretty normal. He was in his early 30s, working at a mid-level job in a tech company. Nothing fancy, not poor, not rich, just somewhere in the middle. Every morning, he woke up to the same alarm, the same rush shower, the same coffee he barely tasted, the same drive through traffic that made his chest feel tight. At work, he did what he was told. Long hours, extra tasks, late-night emails, all for a future he could not even picture clearly. He told himself it was for success, for stability, for respect. But in quiet moments, when his screen went dark and the noise faded, something inside him would whisper, "Is this it? Is this all your life is going to be?" He tried to ignore that voice. He scrolled on his phone. He bought things he did not need. New shoes, a slightly better car, takeout food that made him feel heavy and numb. He tried to convince himself he was happy. After all, he had what many people wanted. A job, a small apartment, a girlfriend who seemed supportive, even if she often said he never really listened. But late at night, when the city went quiet and the blue light from his laptop was the only thing still on, he felt it. An empty space he could not name, like a quiet ache behind his ribs. Don grew up in a home where feelings were not really allowed. His father believed in hard work, not in talking about emotions. Whenever little Don cried, his father would say, "You have to be strong. No one is coming to save you." So Don learned to swallow his fears, to stay busy, to push through. That belief followed him into adulthood. If he felt lonely, he worked more. If he felt stressed, he told himself to stop complaining. If he felt lost, he told himself it would get better once he got the promotion, the raise, the next big thing. But life has a way of stripping away everything you hide behind. And for Don, that moment was closer than he could see. Then came the week that changed everything. It started on a Monday morning. Don walked into the office, expecting another long, dull day. Instead, he was called into a small meeting room. His manager sat across from him with a forced smile and a piece of paper. There were words on that paper like restructure and budget cuts and position removed. All Don really heard was this: "You are no longer needed." He walked out of that building holding a cardboard box with his things. A plant, a mug, a few files. It felt unreal, like a movie he was watching from outside his body. At first, he was angry. How could they do this after all those late nights? All those weekends he gave up. All that silent loyalty. But anger quickly turned into something else. Fear. How would he pay his rent? What would his friends think? What would his father say? That old voice in his head whispered again, "No one is coming to save you." 2 days later, his girlfriend came over. She sat at the same kitchen table where he used to drink his rushed coffee. Her eyes were kind, but firm. She said she cared about him, but she felt like she was dating a ghost. Someone who was always there physically, but never really present. By the end of that conversation, she was gone too. Job gone. Relationship gone. Just when he thought that week could not get any worse, his phone rang late one night. It was about his father. A mild heart attack, the doctor said. Not deadly yet, but serious enough to be a warning. Don sat alone in his dark apartment that night. The city lights outside his window, the sound of a siren somewhere far away. He felt as if the ground under him was cracking open. In that silence, the first truth began to form inside him. Truth 1: no one is coming to save you. It sounded harsh, almost cruel. But as he sat there, jobless, heartbroken, and scared for his father, he realized something. For years, he had been waiting for the right time, the perfect chance, the lucky break, the person who would understand him without him ever having to speak. Now, there was no more waiting. There was only this. Him and his life, exactly as it was. He could break under it, or he could face it, but the struggle did not end there. Because facing a truth and living by it are very different things. The next few weeks were heavy. He sent out resumes. He heard nothing back. He woke up late because there was nowhere to be. He stayed up scrolling because sleep felt like a waste of time. His apartment got messy. His thoughts got darker. On some days, he did not even open the curtains. One evening, after ignoring a call from the hospital checking on his father's follow-up, Don stared at himself in the bathroom mirror. His eyes looked older, tired, almost like a stranger. In that reflection, another truth surfaced. Truth 2. Pain is a teacher, not a punishment. He realized that he had spent his whole life running from discomfort, from sadness, from fear. But where had that running taken him? Now, pain was sitting right in front of him, in his empty calendar, in his lonely evenings, in the ache he felt thinking about his father in that hospital bed. For the first time, instead of numbing it, he let himself feel it, really feel it. He sat on the floor, back against the door, and tears finally came. Not gentle tears, the messy kind. It did not fix his problems, but something small shifted. It felt like the beginning of honesty. One afternoon, after yet another rejected application, Don stepped outside for some air. He walked without really thinking about where he was going. Hands in his pockets, shoulders tight. He ended up at a small park he used to pass by on his way to work. Back then, he never had time to stop. Today, time was all he had. He sat on a worn wooden bench. Across from him, an older man was feeding a few birds, moving slowly, calmly. There was something peaceful about him. The old man glanced at Don and gave a small nod. After a while, he said, rough but gentle, "You look like a man carrying the whole world on his back." Don almost laughed, but it came out as a sigh. They started talking, not about details, not about company names or job titles, just about life. The old man shared a bit of his own story, losing a business, losing people he loved, starting from nothing more than once. At some point, he said something that stuck to Don's mind like glue. He said, "Pain is a teacher, but the lesson is up to you. You can let it harden you, or you can let it wake you up." Then, slowly, over that one conversation and the ones that followed in the days after, 6 truths became clear for Don. Truths he had to not just hear, but live. Truth 1. No one is coming to save you. If you wait for someone to fix your life, you will wait forever. Help is good. Support is good. But the decision to change has to be yours. Truth 2. Pain is a teacher, not a punishment. Life is not always kind, but your pain can either close your heart or open your eyes. You choose which one. Truth 3. You become what you repeat. The old man asked Don, "What do you do every day, even on bad days?" Don realized his life was built from tiny habits. Sleeping late, scrolling endlessly, avoiding hard talks. The truth hit him. His life was not just about big events. It was about what he repeated in small, quiet moments. Truth 4. You cannot heal in the same place that broke you. For years, Don tried to heal his stress by going back into the same patterns. Overworking, chasing people who did not value him, staying in spaces that drained him. The old man said, "Sometimes you have to step out of the room to breathe again." That night, Don looked around his apartment and saw it differently. It held too many versions of him that he no longer wanted to be. Truth 5. Gratitude does not wait for a perfect life. Don always thought he would be grateful once he had everything figured out. But as he visited his father in the hospital and saw other families dealing with far worse news, something softened in him. He still had time with his father. He still had a healthy body. He still had a chance to start again. Gratitude did not erase his pain. It just made space for hope inside it. Truth 6. You are allowed to start again. This one scared him the most. Because starting again meant letting go. Letting go of who he thought he had to be by this age. Letting go of plans that were built on fear, not love. But slowly, the idea of a new start stopped feeling like a failure. It started feeling like freedom. One night, standing by his window, looking at the city lights he once rushed through, Don made a quiet decision. No drama, no big speech, just a simple, steady choice. He would rebuild, from the inside out. He closed his laptop on the endless job boards. Instead, he wrote down 3 small changes he would start with. Wake up at the same time every day and actually see the morning light. Move his body, even if just a walk, instead of lying still and drowning in thoughts. Reach out to one person each day with honesty, not with a fake smile. Tiny steps. But this time, they were chosen, not forced. That was the climax of his journey. Not a dramatic scene, but a quiet revolution in his own mind. Change did not happen overnight. It never does. At first, Don's new habits felt small and almost meaningless. Getting up early when no one was waiting for him. Going for a walk when his mind told him to stay in bed. Sending a simple message to check on his father, instead of avoiding the hospital out of guilt. But as the days turned into weeks, something quiet but real began to grow. His sleep slowly improved. The heaviness in his chest did not vanish, but it loosened its grip. His father's health stabilized, and their conversations became softer, more honest. One afternoon, after a follow-up visit to the hospital, Don sat with his father in the waiting room. For the first time in years, he told him the truth. That he was scared, that losing his job crushed his confidence, that he felt like he had failed at life. His father looked at him for a long moment. Then, in a voice weaker than Don remembered, he said, "Maybe I taught you to be too strong on the outside and too quiet on the inside." In that simple sentence, a wound between them began to heal. Don took on small freelance jobs at first. Nothing that boosted his ego, but they gave him something better. A chance to use his skills without living in constant fear. He changed how he spent his days. Less scrolling, more reading, less pretending everything was fine. More honest talks with the few people who stayed when things got hard. He did not suddenly become rich. He did not suddenly find his dream job. But he became different. Stronger, not because life got easier, but because he learned to stand inside his own life without running from it. And those 6 truths became the ground he walked on. No one is coming to save you. So he started saving small parts of himself every day. Pain is a teacher, not a punishment. So he listened instead of hiding. You become what you repeat. So he chose habits that matched the man he wanted to be, not the man he used to be. You cannot heal in the same place that broke you. So he let go of people, places, and patterns that kept reopening the same wounds. Gratitude does not wait for a perfect life. So he learned to say thank you for simple things. A warm meal, a call from a friend, his own breath. You are allowed to start again. So he did. Quietly, bravely, imperfectly. He was not just stronger. He was wiser. And from that wisdom, a deeper kind of happiness began to grow. Not the loud kind you post online. The quiet kind that lives in your chest when you know you can face whatever comes next. Now, take a moment and bring the story back to you. Where are you in Don's journey? Are you in the phase where everything looks fine on the outside but feels empty inside? Are you in the week where everything is falling apart at once? Or are you standing quietly at the edge of a new beginning, afraid to take that first real step? Remember these 6 truths, not as ideas, but as invitations. No one is coming to save you. That is not a threat. It is freedom. It means you do not have to wait for permission to change your life. Pain is a teacher, not a punishment. So instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" try asking, "What can I learn from this? What is this pain trying to show me about how I live, who I trust, how I treat myself?" You become what you repeat. Look at your day, your habits, your patterns. If nothing changes, who are you becoming? Is that the person you want to be 1 year from now? You cannot heal in the same place that broke you. Maybe, for you, that place is a job, a relationship, a friend group, or even the way you talk to yourself. You are allowed to step away from what keeps hurting you. Gratitude does not wait for a perfect life. There is something in your life right now that someone else is praying for. A body that moves, eyes that see, one person who cares, a second chance you have not yet used. You are allowed to start again. At 20, at 30, at 40, at any age. You are not too late. You are just on a different path than you expected. Let Don's story remind you of this. You are stronger than you think. You are wiser than you give yourself credit for. And a quieter, deeper kind of happiness is possible when you stop pretending and start living honestly. If Don's story touched something in you, do not just move on like it was just another video. Take one of these 6 truths and write it down. Put it somewhere you will see it tomorrow morning. Then ask yourself, what is one small action I can take today to live this truth? Maybe it is sending that message you have been avoiding. Maybe it is going for that walk instead of opening another app. Maybe it is finally admitting to yourself that you need a new start. You deserve a life that feels honest, not just impressive. You deserve a strength that is gentle, not just hard. If you felt seen in this story, Share it with someone who might need it too. Someone who is silently falling apart, just like Don once was. Like this video if it helped you pause and think. Comment which truth hit you the hardest, and what you are going to do about it. And if you want more stories that light up the darkest corners of your life, make sure to subscribe to Tales of Light. Together, we can keep learning, keep healing, and keep starting again as many times as it takes.